Hello there. I'm back. Welcome to my channel. If you haven't been to my channel before, this is my channel. My hair is doing something strange. You've seen the title. This is 10 books that directly influenced my art style, and I'm gonna show you all of them. I'm considering making this into a series. Let me know what you think. I feel like it has potential. There are some topics I want to cover, and I've got a lot of books, so that's not a problem. I'm really excited about this video because I've wanted to film it for ages, and it's just been a little idea sat in my notebook for a few years now. I finally have the time, energy, and space to do so. Without further ado, let's jump right in. My hair looks much better now. See, if I just gave it a little fluffing. Now it looks fine. Or does it? I don't know. This is what happens when you go bold and you're growing it from bold. Short sides, long back. Like a mullet. Like an unintentional mullet. But it's fine. Enough of this faffing about. We're starting with Grow by Koyamori, or Mariti Bitman on Instagram and Twitter. I've probably butchered that name, I'm really sorry. An artist based in Toronto, Canada. The book is full of beautiful character illustrations, one after the next, and it really pushed me to freestyle and experiment more when I trapped myself in my heavy quotation marks university art style box. A few of the other books I'll show you helped break down my stark wall of black and white, and we'll get to that in a bit. For now, just enjoy the splendour of Grow. Next is The New Ghost by Robert Hunter, a UK-based artist who goes by Robert Hunter on Instagram. I won't spoil this amazing work of fiction, but the story follows a ghost separated from its group or herd, or pack, and the ghost finds a human. I knew I had to have the comic when I saw it back in a Kick the PJ video in 2015. I'll link the video below. If you ever find yourself in Soho, London, you need to go to Gosh Comics. That's where I got the book. They have lots of stuff by independent publishers and independent artists. Definitely give it a visit. Please do. Oh my goodness. This next book is one of Yoriyuki's art collection books. Jam got me this for my birthday last year. She had to order it from Japan, and we wanted to go a few years back, but March 2020 happened and there was no chance of that happening anytime soon. I've waited a long time to own some of that work, and I even got the Mosseri collaboration journal as soon as it was released. Much like Grow, this is a portfolio style book and contains works from 2016 to 2020. A fantastical element carries through each of their pieces. I was really drawn into their art by the huge animals and how they contrast with the Sylvanian family-like characters. I'm a sucker for detail, and studying the pieces has really encouraged me to keep striving to create crowded pieces that are able to evoke similar feelings of wonder and coziness. The compositions and moods from their work inspired pieces like Follow the Herd. It's really shown me the importance of showing dramatic scales to push the kind of narratives that I want between the components and the characters. This next book is Funky Town by Mathilde van Gheluwe, who goes by Mathilde_TMH on Instagram. Now, I know you aren't meant to judge a book by its cover, but I also know that this mostly just applies to when we meet new people. Book covers, on the other hand, are something I judge very heavily. You only need to gaze upon this majestic cover once to know you're in for a treat. I noticed that I'm showing you a lot of books that have fantastical, magical themes carrying through them. This is no exception. This isn't a book review video, but if you enjoy things in the realm of Studio Ghibli, then I would definitely recommend this book. There's an amazing blend of styles in this book. There's really detailed characters, and then there's simplified versions of these characters, and it just works so well together. It's obviously something that the artist has put a lot of time and dedication into, and it really shows. The next book is A City Inside by Tillie Walden. I'm surprised I don't own more books by Tillie Walden, but I'm glad I at least own this one. Reading something by this artist gives you a masterclass in storytelling, and not just storytelling, but dignified queer storytelling, where it's not sad because the characters are queer, but it's sad because you're connecting with them and it's so easy to connect with them, and the tragedy and emotion lies within their story and not their queerness. It's just quite refreshing. Yes, it's important to tell stories about queer sadness and how other people's perceptions of you can have such an impact on your life, but I also feel it's important for queer people to be able to read stories where the focus isn't their queerness. That's just a small part of it, a big part of it, but small in comparison to what the character might be going through. This book and other books like this hugely influenced my final project at uni. I made a comic and the character was pretty much me in a way, and the queerness was hinted at, but it was more about introspection than just queerness, if that makes sense. It almost seems silly to say, but at the time I didn't want to say exactly what the story was about, because I felt like, not any tutor in particular, but my tutors would push me in the direction of making it so overtly queer that it just wasn't my story anymore. You know, like slapping a rainbow on it and that sort of shit. The point is, just let queer people tell their stories in their own way, you know? The next book is What We See in the Stars by Kelsey Oseid. I bought this book in the Eden Project gift shop in 2018, so about halfway through my degree. At the time I was keeping an A5 Sea White of Brighton sketchbook, and I was partway through this. It was also when I started trying to experiment more with colour in my work. Like with other artists I was obsessed over, I started adopting the features of Oseid's work that stood out to me, like the mark making, the use of inks to create thick textural backgrounds, and accidentally drew a little bit too much inspo from the way she drew the moon and its phases. I only realised this in retrospect, but it reignited my fascination with astronomy, and I even made my second year project on superstitions of the moon. In this particular project, it was clear to see all of my most recent art inspirations being melded together, like Robert Hunter, Tillie Walden, and now Kelsey Oseid, to create the book. As for the construction, I had big dreams, but execution was definitely an afterthought in comparison to the actual visual contents. Not a great look considering there was such a heavy emphasis on bookbinding techniques in my degree, but you can't say I didn't try. A Graphic Cosmogony, published by Nobrow Press. This book is about the age-old question, how did the universe start? But Phoebe, I hear you say, it was the Big Bang. Yeah, I know. But this book is how did the universe start according to 24 artists. With 7 pages allocated to each individual, the story begins and begins and begins and begins and so on and so forth. It was hard for me to choose which short stories to show you, but I went with some that really stood out to me on the first read. I mainly got this book with the promise of more of Robert Hunter's sequential narrative prowess. I got a lot more brilliance than I bargained for. With amazing stories from Andrew Ray, Isabel Greenberg, John McNaught, my eyes were open to a lot of artists all at once. I was 18 at the time that I got this, I think. And this has been one of my favourite books since. The Art of Heikala Works and thoughts. Discovering Heikala on Instagram years back during my first university year was probably the best reason I had for sticking around on Instagram. Apart from sharing my work and admiring others' work, this is still true now. I love this artist. Her process videos with Ryan Camus's gentle piano accompaniment are a joy to watch. Being mesmerised by these pieces definitely contributed to the speed at which I grabbed this book off the shelf in Forbidden Planet. Imagine the look on my face when I saw it was a signed copy too. Beautiful. I could talk for hours on end about how amazing this artist's work is, but regarding the book itself, there's a lot of useful information in there and a really nice insight into how she comes up with these ideas, where she grew up. There's a sketchbook pages type section in it, and it's different paper. You know when there's different paper in a book? Oh, it's amazing. And there's a section at the back where she shows the process of making an enamel pin from start to finish. Like with all of the artists, if I haven't mentioned the handle of their social medias or their websites, I'll be linking everything down below, so please do go, feel free to admire their work with me. We're at the penultimate book, Adventure Time, The Art of Ooh. I saw this in one of Sian Dunthey's videos, and before I knew it, there it was in the sales section of Forbidden Planet. I found a lot of gems in that shop. If you're looking to get this book for yourself, I'd imagine you were inspired by the character designs. This book has definitely given me a better appreciation of environment design. I can't speak for all illustrators, but it's very helpful in particular when a book has a lot of information that's useful about environments and backgrounds, because I feel like I'm right in assuming it's not the part of the piece that we all get giddily excited about, especially when we're really focused on our character designs. Oftentimes the background can come as an afterthought, and I want to keep practicing so that that's not the case. With standalone illustrations, backgrounds aren't that important, but arguably for a TV show, it's pretty important to have immersive settings for your characters to inhabit. A lot of sections in this book detail how a character comes into being, from crude looking sketches to what you see on TV, and the same goes for environments, buildings, even the music. You can even see the breakdown of what goes into individual episodes, including the original storyboard and then their revisions. There's even a part of the book dedicated to fan art. We've made it to the last book. It's The Electric State by Simon Stålenhag. Upon the first look, I can see why you might be thinking, this has no correlation to any of the other books that you've just shown me. Although there aren't any obvious stylistic features I've taken clear inspiration from, I feel as though this book and just this artist in general have really influenced the way I approach each illustration I make. When I was younger, I was obsessed with the huge coffee table Star Wars concept art books and illustration books. Stålenhag's work was something I was shown in my foundation art and design year. Immediately I was sold. It really lit a fire in my mind the same way that Ralph McQuarrie's works did, and threw me straight back into my childhood. During my second year at university, I came across his paleo art too. Not only does he have classic paleo art, but he also integrates it into his dystopian, futuristic kind of work too. We've reached the end of the video, but before you go anywhere, I'd like to announce that my shop is back open. From now until Sunday, the 17th of July at 6 PM BST, you'll be able to get 25% off of your whole order with the code PGSUMMER, all in caps lock, which you use at the checkout. As always, I'll remind you that if you don't find your country of residence on my shipping list, just send me a message on the contact page of my website or just Instagram DMs, and I'll add it as soon as I can. This is because I have to manually add countries onto my shipping list, and the list is fairly small as I've just based it on the places that most of my social media followers live. Things you've seen in the video, like my comic Grown Up and my print of Follow the Herd, can be found in my online shop. Orders over £30 get a free signed Amalgasaurus print too. I also only have just one copy of Phoebe's Prehistory Volume 2 left, so grab it if you want it. An FAQ section can also be found on my website, and if you have a question that you need answered and you don't see it there, then just send it via the contact page. If you do order stuff from my shop, please do show me when you receive it. I really love seeing pictures of your prints all hung up on the wall, all nice. It's really sweet and it warms my heart. Right, Have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!